Cruise news time. Well, last week I related the sad story about the elderly woman who passed away after being on a cruise. Carnival now has a statement about that passenger. Also, Virgin Voyages is taking a stand for the people in Key West. Plus, what cruise ships are green, and when will cruising come back to your favorite embarkation city? It's a big old pile of cruise news. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lido, Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news. Well, first and foremost, shout out to the sponsor of today's cruise news, Surfshark VPN. As travel and cruising really ramps back up, many of us will be using public or shared Wi-Fi to connect to the internet. Public Wi-Fi is bad for those with privacy concerns, as it exposes your device to those who may wish to steal your data or even worse, your identity. Surfshark VPN sets up a virtual private network for your internet session that allows you to surf your favorite sites securely and anonymously. It also allows you to navigate geographic restrictions to the internet. Imagine you're in a country that does not allow access to your US Netflix account. With Surfshark VPN, you can overcome these geo-blocking and connect as if you were on your Wi-Fi connection at home. I've been using Surfshark a ton as I've gone cruising. The thing I really like about it is for one low price, you can cover all your devices. You don't have to worry about paying separately for your phone or separately for your laptop. They give you a money-back guarantee, and they have a great offer for the locafam. If you use promo code LOCA, you get 83% off plus 3 extra months for free. Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. Surf with your own set of rules. The link is in the description below. Thank you, Surfshark, for sponsoring today's show. So it's been close to a week since I relayed the story of Marilyn Tackett to you guys, 77-year-old grandmother who was cruising on the Carnival Vista, and she tested positive while she was on the cruise ship. She was removed from the cruise ship and sent to a hospital in Belize, and then eventually she was returned to the U.S., and after returning to the U.S., she passed away. The push of my video, and basically I shared with you guys the GoFundMe page that kind of laid out the story from the family's perspective, and then it's been kind of quiet, but all of a sudden today, New York Times, a bunch of other news outlets have started to pick up this story, and in response to that, there is a statement out from Carnival. I wanted to share that with you. This is really the first I've heard from Carnival since this story broke a week ago. This is let me read the statement from Carnival. It's a little lengthy, but it's important. Carnival has implemented a suite of protocols that are designed to flex up as needed to adapt to the changing public health situation related to COVID-19. We meet the standards for a vaccinated cruise as defined by the CDC, with at least 95% of our guests and all of our crew being vaccinated, and then implemented additional measures as we are now requiring vaccinated guests to present both proof of vaccination and a negative COVID test to check in. Those few guests who cannot be vaccinated are tested twice before boarding the ship and again at debarkation, and all guests must wear masks in indoor areas of the ship where people gather, such as dining rooms, theaters, and casinos. Unfortunately, no venue on land or at sea is COVID-free right now, but we are committed to protecting the health and safety of our guests, crew, and the communities we visit, and have not hesitated to act quickly to go beyond the existing public health guidelines. Specifically to your question about the death of a Carnival Vista guest, we are very sorry to hear about the death of a guest who sailed on Carnival Vista. Regrettably, there is a fair amount of disinformation about the circumstances of this matter. The guest almost certainly did not contract COVID on our ship, and she was assisted with expert medical care on board and was ultimately evacuated from Belize after we provided a resource to her family. We have continued to provide support to her family and are not going to add to their sadness by commenting further. And so a couple key things about this statement. The top part of the statement really talks to the idea that as things changed, so did the protocols. We saw that when I was on the Celebrity Edge. We started hearing about the Delta variant. We saw cases on the Celebrity Edge, and Celebrity changed their health protocols. Around the same time, we saw this happen also with Carnival, where they added this masking extra layer of testing. All cruise lines are going through this process of adjustment as things change. And then very clearly they say they don't believe that she got the virus on the cruise ship. I'm glad to have this statement. I'm glad that they're speaking speaking out about it. Again, I shared it from a perspective as a teachable moment. One of the big points in the GoFundMe by the family is that they did not have the proper medical coverage to get her medical care outside the U.S. And we used that to really focus in on the idea of making sure that you have travel insurance. So I'll leave a link to the video that I did if you want to see the family side of it. There'll be a link above, but this is Carnival's response to that story. Let's transition into a story about Virgin Voyages and the will of the people, as it were. It's been an interesting year in Florida for many reasons, but one of the ongoing battles here in Florida is whether or not the voters in Key West could decide for themselves whether or not to have cruise ships in their ports. On Election Day 2020, back in November, the voters voted, and they voted to limit cruise ships in Key West, defining how big the cruise ship could be, what their environmental record could be, and also how many people could come into Key West. And of course, that was voted on by the people, and that became kind of the law of the land down there in Key West. Now, the Florida legislature stepped in and said, well, we don't think the people in Key West should be able to determine the outcome of what happens with Florida ports. And they wrote legislation that would allow cruise ships to go to Key West, Florida, and that was signed into law by the governor here in Florida. So now that's the law of the land. So now you have a situation where you at least have a plurality of the people that voted on this in Key West that they don't want cruise ships there, but now they've been overridden by a state law, and one cruise line has decided to take a stand. Let me share with you this guidance released by Virgin Voyages in relation to Key West. Important port update. We've got some hot sip. That's Bahamian slang for gossip. On our 4-night Fire and Sunset Soaries, sailing departing on October the 6th and October 20th, 2021, our stop in Key West will be replaced with the vibrant and sun-soaked Bahamian capital of Nassau. We'll be reaching out to you sailors booked on these to share the next steps. Part of our brand ethos is to create an epic sea change for all, and a pillar of this commitment is respecting the communities we visit and making a positive impact. We are actively working on a plan that suits the local Key West community as well as our sailors, and are hopeful that we'll host our Fire and Sunset Soaries from Key West soon. So while not coming straight out and saying we're not going to Key West because you don't want us there, there is an inference in this message that there is some consideration to what the people want in Key West. And so at least for these two sailings, Virgin Voyages not going to Key West. They're going to the sun-soaked capital of the Bahamas, Nassau. And look, I like Nassau just fine. I've been there several times. I do like Nassau. I love the fact that whoever was the wordsmith behind this, I like how hard they went at selling Nassau as a great replacement for Key West, which that's personal preference for everybody out there. I would go to either one of them. I'll ride the fence. But the question for you guys is, which would you rather have, a stop in Nassau or a stop of Key West? That would be interesting in the comments. I've had bad luck in Key West, honestly. Nassau has been a little better to me. Let me quickly remind you of a conversation we had on the show yesterday. I talked about how when you look at the CDC color code chart for cruise ships that are sailing with paying passengers, the Norwegian Gem is green after their first week, after the first little data update. And some people, they said, hey, look, there's some other cruise ships that are green. So I thought it'd be fun. Let's jump into the computer. We will look at all of the cruise ships that are sailing with paying passengers that are currently green. That means no COVID reported on board. Spoiler alert, it's not a ton, but I think we're all well familiar with the world that we live in. But at least I can share the ones that are there. Let's jump into the computer. All right, here we go. Cruise ship color status. If you're unfamiliar with this web page, there's an agreement between the cruise lines and the CDC that anytime there is COVID reported on board, the cruise lines have to report it to the CDC, and based on the number and the percentage of passengers, they get a color code. Green being the best, no reported COVID. Orange being the second best, which is kind of weird. That means there is some reported COVID, but not enough to investigate. Yellow comes after that, reported COVID, enough to investigate, and then red means everything's gone sideways. Fortunately, there's no red on this chart, but let's look for the cruise ships that have the word restricted by them. That means they're doing restricted paying passenger sailings, and if they're green, that means they have no COVID. Okay, so this data was last updated yesterday with data that was submitted to the CDC on the 20th. So this data is fairly fresh. American Queen Steamboat Company, they have the American Countess with paying passengers. They are in the green. So we're looking for restricted ships with green by them. The American Queen also in the green. Bahamas Paradise, their one ship, the Grand Classica, sailing with paying passengers, no reported COVID. All right, we'll swing down through Carnival. We're looking for restricted green. Restricted green. Restricted green. We need some scrolling music. Restricted green. Here we go. Oh, okay, we're out of Carnival. So all of the Carnival cruise ships that are cruising right now with paying passengers have some sort of reported cases. Again, it's the world that we're living in. It's no indictment against Carnival, because you're going to see that that's true for most cruise lines. Sliding down, Walt Disney, the Disney Dream. It's been sailing out of Florida. It is restricted green. All right. Interesting, like these aren't restricted yet, but Genting is sending some cruise ships. Crystal is coming to U.S. waters, which is pretty interesting. All right, so we're down through MSC. MSC, their restricted ship, the Meraviglia, right now has reported cases. All right, Norwegian Cruise Line. The Encore up there in Alaska, that is sailing with no cases. The Gem, like we said yesterday, sailing with no cases. We get down to Royal here and the Celebrity ships. All their restricted. We're looking for a restricted green. Restricted green. Restricted green. Here's a restricted green. Symphony of the Seas is sailing with no reported cases. And then we also have Silver Seas, Silver Muse, going with paying passengers, no reported cases. So I check this chart frequently. It's a good chart. It's a nice reminder that we're not going to have completely COVID-free cruise ships. I think some people mistakenly get that in their mind. It is all about how the cruise lines manage it, and you can go through here and see that all of the cruise lines essentially have some sort of reported cases, and you can also see whether they're being investigated and how the CDC is responding. Now, just a quick programming update. It is August the 24th. It's Tuesday. That means we have a live show tonight at 9 p.m. Join us with your cruise questions. It's not like one of these shows. I just want to say that. I see people comment all the time like, wow, that's a little bit different. It's me and my lovely wife, Jenny. We jump on without an agenda. We jump on without a script, and we are guided by your questions and your interactions. And so if you want to come hang out with the Loca fam tonight at 9 p.m., that's Eastern time, come on over for a little live show fun and frivolity. Now, I've got something else that I want to show you on the computer. A lot of people ask the question, when is my embarkation city coming back online? What cruise ships are coming? Cruise Industry News, they've done a great recap of the cruise cities in the U.S., which ships are there, when they're restarting. We're going to go through those real quick. But first, let me invite you to subscribe. If you like staying up to date with everything that's going on in cruising, please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Thank you in advance. All right, back to the computer we go. Here we are, Cruise Industry News. I reference these guys a lot. They're a great resource for cruise information. I would highly recommend going to check them out. The article that they released today is super cool, super helpful. American Cruise Restart Home Ports by the numbers. So let's answer those questions. When is cruising coming back to my city? So Miami, Florida. These are the cruise ships that are currently sailing. I won't go through all of the cruise ships, but Miami, Florida, they're in action already. And the note here is 20 additional cruise ships will be returning through December. If you look at this and you want to pause it, the bolded ones are cruise ships that are currently sailing. The not bolded ones are cruise ships that will be sailing. Port Everglades in Florida, 3 ships that are currently going. 17 ships will be returning through December. Port Canaveral, 5 ships currently in service. 8 additional ships through December. Seattle, Washington, 8 ships currently in service during the Alaska season. Galveston, Texas, 3 ships currently in service, 4 additional through the end of December. Los Angeles just got kicked off with the panorama there. So West Coast, here we go. 1 ship in service, but 6 additional ships coming through the end of December to Los Angeles. Tampa, just down the road from me. I'm so ready for this one. First departure, October the 16th, with 7 ships returning through December. I don't know if I'll be on a Tampa cruise by the end of the year, but man, it's going to be super tempting. New York, including Bayonne. So we know that the Oasis of the Seas, they're on their test sailing out of Bayonne. The first official departure with paying passengers September the 5th. 6 more cruise ships returning through December. How about New York? San Diego. First departure on September the 18th with 4 ships returning through December. That's some Holland America there. That's some Disney there. How about that? Celebrity. All those cruise lines that you guys are always wondering what's going on. I just want to be on a Holland American ship because I love the names. Koningsdam. How do you say that first one? Zuiderdam. Zuiderdam. What about the Big Easy? New Orleans. Yes, New Orleans. First departure September the 5th. September is going to be a poppin' month for the cruise restart. A couple Carnival ships and a Norwegian ship leaving out of New Orleans. All that starts in September. Baltimore also getting in the game in September with the Carnival ship, 3 ships returning through December. San Francisco, first departure October the 31st with the Ruby Princess ship. Charleston, finally back in the game in November with Carnival. Mobile, man, that was my first cruise port. Mobile, first departure October the 21st. Jacksonville in November. And then Honolulu, first departure from the Pride of America on the 27th of November. And then we got Palm Beach, Florida, of course, the Grand Classica, the little cruise line that could, Bahamas Paradise, working it out down there. And then we got Boston, Mass. We got 1 cruise ship currently in service. That's the Crystal Symphony. So there you go. Those are the embarkation points out of the U.S. Again, check out Cruise Industry News. A lot of great resources there. They also have a document there with all of the cruise ships when they're going to be restarting. So I cannot recommend them enough. Boom, that's your cruise news. We certainly covered a lot today. What do we have? We had Carnival's statement. How do you feel about that? Looks like Virgin is going to side with the people of Key West, at least for a couple cruises. Then we saw the ships that were green. Is your next cruise ship green? And then how about the home ports? Is there a city that's not cruising right now that you just cannot wait till they come online? Leave a comment below. Thank you so much for checking out the show today. Please show your support or I'm going to lick my fingers and wipe it right across your glasses. I mean, it's only going to matter to people who wear glasses, but if you wear glasses, you know that that is one of the most annoying things ever. I'm not saying that I've done it, but I'll do it if you don't hit the like button. This is Tony with Lido, Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Au revoir. How about that? I went French today. Bye.